Hi and welcome to 1 Week at a Time. My name's Brett Burden. The last episode of 1 Week at a Time, we were talking about knowledge and understanding and making sure we've got a really clear understanding of all aspects of business. Not genius in all of them, but a really good, clear understanding. And I was talking to a client during the week and he was getting stuck in a particular area, finance. So I took him through the 4 levels, the 4 steps of learning, which is a very old model. You may have seen this before, but at the same time, it's very good. So whenever you're going to take on any new task, this is where we start. We start here at unconscious incompetence. So you think about anything that you're about to learn. Maybe it was driving a car as a kid, maybe learning how to ride a bike, or even swimming. Swimming is a really good one. So, you know, you think about the aspect of, let's say swimming is totally foreign to you, you've never done that before. So you wouldn't even know that there's a pattern and a rhythm that you need to get into when you're swimming. So the way you move your arms and the way you kick, or when you kick your legs and when you breathe, breathing is really important, so make sure you do that if you're going to take this one up. But it all has to happen in a rhythm. And when you first start, you don't know that, all right? So this is where you sit. Once you start to learn a little bit about swimming, you move to the next step, which is conscious. You're conscious of the rhythm and what you need to do, but you're just not getting it right. So you're taking in a whole bunch of water, coughing and splattering, red eyes, and all the rest of it. And then if you push through that area, you get to the point where you're now conscious and you're competent. Okay, so you're getting it right most of the time. Not taking in anywhere near as much water these days. So, and of course, then we move on to the next level, which is unconscious competence. So that's when you're just doing it. You're not even thinking about it. You don't have to worry about the rhythm anymore because it's just, you know, it's just on autopilot for you. Same way, perhaps when you're driving a car these days. You know, you think back when you first started learning and you had your L plates on, how much you were, you know, focused on everything that you were doing. And today, you probably didn't even think about how you got to work today. So this is unconscious competence, and this is the 4 steps of learning and where you need to get to. Now, right here is where it gets dangerous for us, because this is where a lot of people jump off the bus. And this particular client, that's where he had jumped off the bus. So what happens is we get to the point, you think about this, as kids, and if you've got kids, you'll know what they're like. They're just, most of the time, pretty passionate about taking on new tasks. Not all the time, but, you know, I certainly know with my kids when it came to swimming, when they were learning how to swim, they'd get out of the water, coughing and splattering, and, you know, eyes as red as red, but they'd be back in the pool again. You couldn't get them out, and they were continually trying to learn how to master this activity. Whereas adults are very different to that. You know, we don't want to get it wrong in front of our peers. We don't want to look like idiots learning a new task. So what happens is we tend to, I don't really want to learn how to drive a car, or I don't want to learn how to swim, or I don't really need to understand about finance. You know, I'm really good at this area of business, and someone else can look after that. And that's what had happened with this particular client. He got to this point where he just didn't think he needed to, or didn't really want to understand the financial side of business. So what he'd done is he said to me that, I delegate that to my accountant. And the truth is, he hadn't delegated it, he'd abdicated his responsibility to his accountant, because he still needed to understand it. Not to the level that the accountant does, but he needs to be able to pick up a balance sheet and at least have a basic understanding of how it works. Because this particular client was having issues around cash flow and particularly cash gap. So, you know, and he didn't understand any of those concepts. So it was important to go back and start re-educating him in those areas. So the thing about learning is, if you're going to take on any new task, there's always confusion. There has to be confusion, because, you know, if your brain hasn't done this task before, it's got to rewire. And during that rewiring process, there's going to be a whole bunch of crosstalk going on. That's the confusion. So that's the part you've got to push through. But understand that if you're going to learn anything, you've got to go through that. You actually do have to get confused before you can learn, because that's the brain rewiring for the new activity. So, you know, don't be afraid of it. Push through that. Anyway, so this particular client, as I say, he was getting to the point there, he just jumped off the bus, abdicated his responsibilities to someone else, and thought that was going to work for him. But it doesn't. You've just got to have as I say, you don't have to know everything about the financial side of the business, but you do need to know what outcomes you're expecting. So when you look at a report, at least it tells you something. And the more you look at that report, the more you're going to learn anyway. So it's like, these steps right here. So I guess the point of today's topic and discussion is about what are you avoiding? What are you, what are you jumping off the bus here about? What particular area of business? Go back and have a look at those 4 areas that we talk about, and see which one is your weakness. See which one you're tending to abdicate to someone else. Anyway, I hope that helps and makes some sense. And have a think about it for yourself. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.